This is Stephen Whitfield with Jillian Contractor here at the 2021 IADC Annual General Meeting in Dallas, Texas. With me right now is Carl Fehres, VP of Digital Strategy at NOV. Mr. Fehres spoke at the conference on a panel discussion on the digital transformation. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So, first question. At the conference, you talked about exponential technologies and sort of their importance in the digital transformation. Could you explain a little bit more about what those technologies are?
Sure. Peter Diamandis, he wrote a book, it's called Abundance, and he's given talks. And when you talk about exponential technologies, what we're referring to are enabling fundamental technologies. So at the start, just simple compute. So compute's been around for a very long time. Moore's law, everybody knows, it's computational capacity doubles every 18 months, and that's actually held true since 1950 or so. And so, it's on an incredible exponential curve. But it's not just compute, it's compute, storage, signal and communication, so the ability to actually take that information from a remote location and put it into somewhere central. And the advent of really, really cheap sensors. And so the exponential decrease in price of sensors and the exponential growth of sensors. So individually, any one of these things are incredible and can change and transform an industry. But when you couple all of them together, compute, storage, communication, sensors, and realizing that those things enable artificial intelligence really to come into its own. So artificial intelligence methodologies have been around for decades and decades, but they've not really been realized because we just didn't have the tools to make them really efficient and real. And so all that started culminating in the early 2000s, and we've been on this insane exponential growth pattern now for those technologies. And so we're seeing compute speeds now that were just unimaginable 10 years ago. And so we imagine where they're going to be in 10 years from now. And where artificial intelligence and other technologies will be. It's pretty remarkable.
Do you see any hurdles to widespread adoption of these exponential technologies within the industry?
Yeah, so I think the fundamentals, everybody's adopting them as fast as they can. Infinite compute, infinite storage, infinite communication, those are all fundamental technologies that every IT group and OT and every company is basically using and leveraging. We use it every day on our phone, right? So adoption's easy. I think where adoption is more difficult is when you start building new versions of control systems built on AI, for example, or you're building new technologies based on those fundamental things. And so introducing anything that's new always comes with nervousness and caution, of course. So especially artificial intelligence. I think when you think of artificial intelligence and how it differs from traditional programming, right? So if you build software and that software's got a bug, you can go back and look at the software and decompile it and say, that's the bug, let me go fix that. Artificial intelligence, a lot of times, is built on deep neural networks or other methodologies that aren't programmatic. It's machine learning. And by definition, the machine learning, it's not a set of programming steps that are defined by a human. It's a machine learning, right? Trained by humans and trained by data. And so you're learning to trust this algorithm that is going to continue getting better and better over time, ideally. And so that trust, it's like trusting the human almost, right? So I don't know you, or I do now, but I don't know you. It's going to take time for me to trust you to drive me from A to Z, because I don't know if you're a good driver or not. But if I'm in the car with you for a little while, it's like, oh, yeah, he's a great driver, I trust him. Same type of thing for AI. And so I think that the evolution of things to acceptance and adoption of some of these really advanced solutions is going to be just moving from it's in test, it's advising people to do things, and that person has the ability to say yes or no, into I trust what that computer algorithm is saying 99 times out of 100, can you just automate the darn thing so I don't have to press that little button every time? And so that's a simplistic view of things, but I think that's where things get interesting.
You also talked about how a cultural shift to something more data-driven can be a key enabler for the digital transformation. Could you talk a little bit about what that shift would entail? How does a company become more data-driven?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's one that I think we all struggle with. Is every company is is trying to adopt this type of technology and methodology, and don't just do it in a lab. Don't do it with a couple, brainiac data scientists and a really excited subject matter expert in a lab somewhere. How do I really get that out to the masses so that every person who specializes in some task in the company is enabled by data to do their job more effectively, to make better decisions, to use those tools to become a superstar, right? And so to do those things, you've got to there's a lot of things. Number one, you've got to put up test pilot programs where everybody in the company sees the potential of the technology. And they see it related to their space in some way, even adjacent to their space. And they get excited about it, right? People get excited about new things that catapult them or their colleagues forward. So that's one, they get excited about it. Two, you've got to enable them with access to clean, organized data securely, right? And so I think a lot of times corporations, they hold data in a vault. We have data, we've got 6 people have access to it, nobody else, right? And so you've got to give the right access to the right people for data and make it more widespread. And there's trust there, trust training, monitoring, and those kind of governance things. The third thing you do is training and tools to make it easier for people to not only get access to it, but visualize it and build algorithms on top of it. And I think in that space, the tech industry is growing very, very fast. You see a lot of startups building a lot of great technology, a lot of big companies building great AI foundations and core platforms that will enable people at an organization to do that. But from an organization standpoint, you need to remove the barriers and provide training and get people excited about what's potential. And then what you'll see people that aren't satisfied with how things are done today leverage those things to be 2 times, 3 times, 5 times better at whatever they're doing, whether it's inventory management or manufacturing excellence or some operational aspect of their job. So,
Well, Mr. Fehres, we appreciate you joining us here at the conference. The digital transformation is obviously a big thing within the industry today, and everyone's trying to figure out where they fit in with it. So thank you again for taking the time and kind of explaining some key concepts. Thank you.
no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you for visiting Drilling Contractor.